Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Town Hall meeting of KDD 2021. We have here with me our KDD Chair, Prof. Wei Wang, our General Co-Chair, Prof. Benqing Wei and Prof. Chunyan Miao. And we have our PC co-chairs of both research track and ADS track. And we have the new KDD EC members, as well as the existing EC members. We also have the general co-chairs for KDD 2022 with us today. So thank you everybody for attending this meeting, and you're gonna hear from them all in the following meetings. All right, so let's get started. First, let's look at some key numbers for KDD 2021. Next slide, please. So, although we cannot greet everyone here in this beautiful city of Singapore, we're glad that we have been able to offer you a truly global conference experience. That has been shown by the registration numbers around the world. So we have crossed 3,000 registrations and the number is still counting. The attendees are represented by 57 countries. And here is a quick snapshot of the gender. We have roughly 30% of female attendees versus 70% of male attendees. And thank you all for attending KDD 2021. We really appreciate that you spend the time in this special period. Now, let's take a look at this year's KDD program as an overview. We have 5 days of the whole conference program with 3 days of main conference. And we have altogether 19 different tracks, including all the workshops, tutorials, special days, main tracks, including the paper sessions for research track and ADS track, and the sponsor talks, the award sessions, dissertation sessions, and KDD town hall meetings and the award ceremonies. Altogether, we have close to 300 different sessions. A salient feature of this year's KDD is that we believe as a virtual conference, a global conference, we should really offering some good experience to a maximum number of people rather than just maximizing the experience for a group of people. That's why this year we're trying to accommodate more time zones than just a single time zone. So that's why for each conference day, all the events has been spread out to a 24-hour time window. And no matter where you are, there's always going to be something for you live. You don't have to really stay up all night for all the programs. And moreover, there is really a 2-month period that you can access all the conference materials. We have made all the papers, videos, as well as the abstracts available 1 month before the actual conference, so that registered attendees can go online to really get familiar with these papers, videos, and then they can better prepare themselves for the live session. And we do see a lot of interactions in the Rocket chat between the attendees and the authors. I believe that have benefited people from attending the live sessions. And then some of the recordings for the events, including special days, the plenary sessions, all the keynote speeches, as well as ADS talks, will be available on KDD conference platform 1 month after the actual conference. So you have ample time to enjoy all the things that you miss because of the different time zone issue. So let's also look at the sponsors. We have 27 supporting companies this year. And this is really not easy in a conference area where people already get a little bit tired with this virtual conference setting. And we're glad that we have all the funds used to help the KDD program. Next slides, please. So once again, I want to express our sincere gratitude to all our sponsors. Thank you, and thank you for the support for KDD 2021. And we hope you can continue to support KDD in the years to come. And please do spend some time to tour around our virtual map, to visit all the sponsor booths, as well as to listen to the expo talks in the National Stadium. So this year's KDD, we have brought to you some of the best social programs that we can offer. In particular, we have worked with Singapore Tourism Board to offer you 2 custom live stream Singapore Zoo shows. The first one is a night safari show, which happened on the first day of KDD conference. And we're glad that many of you have enjoyed the interesting tour in Singapore's famous night safari. The second show, Once Upon the River, which just happened yesterday, is also very interesting. I'm sure many of you have take a tour at the first and only river themed, open water themed park of Asia. I don't know if you have a chance to look at the giant panda that just delivered the baby, but I'm sure it was very interesting. And then to make the conference experience really interesting, we have customized Gather Town into a virtual world, including 10 Singapore-based maps. And I'm really talking about gigantic maps. And we have embedded 20 famous local attractions into the virtual world, including the famous Marina Bay Sands Hotel, the Jewel Airport, Sentosa Island, the Chinatown, the Singapore Zoo, Night Safari, and so on. Now, during the poster sessions, people can enjoy these local attractions while they're browsing the posters and interact with authors. I don't know how many of you have actually attended poster session, but the first poster session was really great. I spent about 2 hours in the poster session looking around, and in fact, some of the maps are really crowded. You can see groups of people in 3 or 5. They're just discussing about the posters or just chatting casually. And the nice thing is, if you walk closer to a group, then the Zoom chat windows of that group will automatically pop up, and you're going to hear people talking. And when you walk away, it will just naturally come out. It was really a near real life experience. So I think this is something that you definitely need to experience in KDD 2021. And we have our second poster sessions coming up on the last day. And that poster session will accommodate the US time zone. So it will be in the US time zone, afternoon from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then in the virtual world, we also have 11 exhibit booths for the sponsors, including their interview rooms. So you can have a chat with the companies if you're interested, and you can browse their conference materials. We also have the National Stadium, which will hold 8 sponsored talks at different time slots. Please check the schedule on the virtual platform to get to the talks. Okay, next slide, please. A successful conference at this scale cannot be run smoothly without a whole team of volunteers. So I want to thank all the volunteers for your hard and dedicated work. So this year we have 54 organization committee members, and we have 75 student volunteers. And these student volunteers are really working hard for a whole lot of different tasks and jobs. And we know that student volunteers usually benefit from some conference benefits in usual settings, offline settings. However, on the online conference, we really appreciate these student volunteers can continue to serve the conference. And we have over 100 session chairs who have spent their time to make each and every session a great success. And we have 20 moderators for all the different keynotes and ADS talks and other sessions. We also want to thank our PC and the senior PC members in helping us with the review. Last but not least, we have 11 dedicated virtual platform build team volunteers. Now, I cannot overemphasize the importance of this virtual platform build teams, because 6 months before the conference, we've already started on this big task. And next slide, please. So I want to thank the virtual build team, especially for their many hours of work and all the last minute hard work to make everything run smooth. So while we are enjoying the conference, yes, we do know that there are still going to be some minor issues here and there, but trust us, this dedicated team has spent hours and hours of time in making the conference smooth. And I'm sure their experience will be really something valuable for the future KDD conference or any virtual conference. We are trying to going to share this experience with all the conference organizers. Next slide. Okay, now next, let me introduce our program co-chairs for the research track, Professor Winnie Su and Professor Sanjay Chawla. They have spent their time in helping us review the research track papers. Now over to them to talk about some of the statistics of this year's research track submissions.
Hi, this is Sanjay. Winnie, are you there?
Yes, hi everyone.
So I guess we have a few statistics to show about the review process, and also some lessons learned, I think, which might be useful for KDD 2022. So I guess next slide, the numbers there. Yeah, so for the research track, I guess the basic statistics are in front of you. We received 1,541 papers. There were around 126 desk rejects out of that, primarily because of anonymity violations and also the wrong template. Actually, we had to write our own program to detect these violations, and I think it'll be good to have some KDD code which can be shared from year to year to do this, so I think the number of desk rejects are a little bit higher, but I think this is expected. Many people just resubmit a paper from a previous conference and forget to remove their names or use the wrong template. So that's something to think about. We accepted around 239 papers in the end. When we accepted the papers, we really did not look at the percentages, how many we should accept. We really went through and looked at of course, based on the SPC recommendation. And we almost, in most of the cases, went by the recommendation. There were a few questions, we went back and forth. And so that's what we did. We accepted 239 papers. There were a few cases that came back and we had to sort of review them again. We had to assign sometimes another SPC member or a reviewer to look at the papers. There was a very interesting case about one paper that was accepted. It was on the website. And then one reviewer got a little bit upset that how come this paper got accepted? So we went back and forth with the SPC. It was a very interesting discussion that took place. And in the end, we had to tell the authors that the paper had already been accepted to make some changes because one reviewer insisted that one proof was not 100% correct. So that was, I thought, an interesting exchange we had. So next slide. So the way the organizing committee was, organized was we had 144 senior PC members. We tried to get, the leading experts in data mining and machine learning and data science based on you know, based on the sort of history of KDD and also from previous years, the list that we had received from chairs from KDD 2020 and also from KDD 2019. So there was this, you know, we knew we would get quite a few papers, but we wanted to keep the senior PC list sort of up to, you know, for people we knew, you know, who are well known in the community. So as a result, the number of papers that were assigned to the senior PC was around 10, and maybe that number is a bit high. And maybe next year's KDD chairs should look into this. The number of PC members in the end became around 755. We started with around 680, but added more later. And so, yeah, I think, again, the number of papers assigned to a PC member is on the higher side, and we got some pushback based on that. That's why we increased the PC members, but we also had quite a few external referees over between 350 to 400. So that way, you know, in the end, we were able to get, for most papers, I think 99% of the papers, 3 or more reviews. So anyway, the total number of authors in both tracks, this is both tracks, some duplicates, it's 7 or close to 8,000. So next slide. So this is I just have 2 graphs. This is the distribution of review scores, the histograms. And on the x-axis is the average review score, and so this is how it looks. So there, as you would expect, you know, it's a mixture of 2 distributions, and of course there's an overlap. And as I said, that, you know, we did not, of course, mechanically go by the review scores. In a lot of it. In many cases, there was quite a bit of discussion between the senior PC and the PC members, and sometimes there was scores that you know, the PC member, senior PC member, bent on both sides, and I think, but sometimes, you know, they had a discussion, they came up with an agreement, but they didn't change the score. So sometimes, you know, you would see that low scores got accepted and few high scores did not get. Average high scores papers were based on the SPC members, and our discussions were not accepted. But as I mentioned, you know, in the end, we got 5 or 6 papers where we had to have a second, after the results were announced, we, you know, had to have some discussions on that. So next slide, please. So, you know, in this time, we tried to have the questions slightly different. So from what the norm is, you know, we didn't have, okay, what are the 3 strong points of the paper, 3 weak points of the paper. So our questions were more about, okay, how's the contribution? How do you contextualize it? Is it related work? Sort of good coverage, of course, the style of the paper. You know, we also had a question which we did not sort of, there was no score associated with about the type of the paper, you know, with the paper categorization. So whether it's a theoretical advance in data science, a new research problem formulation, another characteristic, you know, something that you cannot describe the paper, whether it's an application work. You know, this question later, I thought maybe, you know, we could have sort of phrased it better. It was more, is this an application work which will advance the body of research in data science? I think our interpretation is that, you know, when people saw the word application, they started thinking, oh, okay, this is more, you know, kind of an ADS paper. So I think that's, you know, we can improve the phrasing of these questions. Whether it's a novel perspective on an existing research topic within data science, whether it's an extension of an established research problem, and whether it's a new problem which improves the performance of an existing research problem. And this is the frequency of the bar chart on the right-hand side. And you can see that most reviewers felt that most of the papers that they were reviewing was in this last category. We try to look at the sort of the correlation between the type of the paper and the acceptance rate. There is some, there's some separation, but not much, except that, when people, when the reviewers were not able to characterize the kind of paper, that those papers had a very low acceptance rate. So it's important that when authors write the paper, at least they have this some kind of an abstraction in mind that what is the contribution, what type of paper that they are writing. And I think going forward, perhaps a question like this could be, rewritten. For example, instead of having one question with these choices, perhaps make every choice a binary question. So is this a theoretical advanced data science? Yes or no? Is this a new research problem in data science? Yes or no? I think that categorization would help the reviewers, take this, questions sort of more, spend some more time thinking about these questions. So next slide. So, so what are the lessons learned from KDD 2022? I think one thing that sort of we did not anticipate is, and I think we should really encourage for in KDD 2022 is to make sure that the SPC and the SPC use sort of one email address. Sometimes, they would use x@cs.university.edu. Sometimes they would use university email. And the communication became an issue. Sometimes when they're authors and they are also the reviewers, they would sometimes use the Gmail for their reviewers and the university email for or the organization email for the authors. So figuring out who it's the same person not became an issue. So deduplication is a problem that needs to be resolved. And I think I would suggest that the next PC chairs, spend some time, when they send the invites and when they get the invites to make sure that, the email that is being used, it might sound sort of a simple issue, but I think it matters. We also used, the Toronto paper matching system and the CMT for the paper assignment. We did ask for bidding, but then we looked at that and we discussed with other people how the bids were, whether there was some issues in the bidding, and Gao Kong from NTU really helped us here. And so in the end, we decided to give a low weight for the PC when they're bidding, but high weight for the SPC. And there was, of course, and even though we used Toronto matching, there were some issues. Some PC members said, "Oh, these are papers not in my expert area." In which case, every time somebody came back on that, we immediately tried to find more reviewers. Reviewers who we said, "Okay, we'll take the paper off from your list and give it to somebody else." So we try to work like that. I think, like many other big conferences, I think it's time to see whether bidding has sort of what is the role of bidding and how should the matching be done. How about, so I mentioned earlier about the load for each PC member and SPC member. I think we of course should work towards reducing the load. I think for this to materialize, every author should be a potential reviewer, or you expand, so you have to expand the PC base. I think the SPC should be should be well constructed and thought through, even the PC of course, but I think the load, as if more and more papers are coming, we have to, KD, we'll have to figure out what's the best, how do you strike the balance between the number of papers and of course the number of PC members, and how do you get PC members who are sort of established in the community, and we try to do that. We try to look at the H index, and whether they were at what level of whether they were students or whether they were postdocs or faculty or researchers. In the end, when we assigned papers to reviewers, we said, okay, we look for 4 reviewers per paper. I think it's okay to make it 3. We thought it's okay to make it 3 and use the 4th in the case of disagreement. We didn't see, 3 actually you can get a pretty good idea whether the paper will be, what the state of the paper is. So yeah, so these are the lessons learned, and hopefully, for KDD 2022, some of these can be adopted. And overall, I think Vinaya and I had a sort of good experience, helping out this year, and hopefully, next year will be always want to improve, so next year will be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay and Winnie, for the good sharing, and we really appreciate all the effort. And then let's look at the applied data science track, and we have the PC co-chairs, Haijun Wang and Irina. And so over to you, Irina, for some of the sharing.
Hi, everyone. This is Irina Skripnik. Thank you so much for an honor to give me an opportunity to be an applied data science track co-chair with my colleague, Haijun Wang, this year. So this has been an amazing experience and interesting work. We definitely enjoyed, and I would like to share some facts about this year's applied data science track. Next slide, please. So this year we worked in tight collaboration with research track chairs, and we used the same system, and we collaborated through many processes, which was amazing. This year we increased the scale of the conference. It's the 2nd year the conference is fully virtual, and there are some important changes that happened. First of all, we still have received a record number of papers, which is 725 papers. It's a lot of great papers. Some were just rejected for the same reasons that a research track chairs mentioned, basically due to format, due to some anonymity, or just withdrawn. And at the end, we ended up accepting 155 papers. Acceptance rate significantly increased because the format was virtual, and we wanted to give more opportunity to people to present their work, and for community to enjoy these interesting works, because there are strong papers. So literally this percent went up a lot from previous years, just for this occasion. That was something like 7% of full presentations earlier years, and another were posters, up to 12%. And this year it's different. We don't have posters, literally, we have 21%. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I would like to thank all of the program committee members who joined, volunteered at this important work. So this year we had 48 members of program committee, senior PC members, who many of them have a great experience with KDD and participated many years there, know how to handle this work, and we really relied on their opinions. That was very, very valuable. We have invited 467 program committee members. We just learned from the previous experience that we wanted to have a reasonable workload for people, especially from academia, and especially from industry, because basically people could manage some it's not their primary activity to do this kind of job. So special thank you for this. In this respect, we also wanted to achieve like 50-50 numbers for program committee and for PC members from academia and from industry. And that's something that we have achieved. So the bidding process was literally the same that research structures have covered. We also wanted to take an opportunity and give people more valuable reviews on their work, even if some papers was not accepted. We aimed to have 3 reviewers. Most papers have 4 reviewers. And because we have this year, we have quite a few people who stepped in to help at the late stages to review papers. So these papers reviewed less papers, but at the end, some papers actually got up to 6 reviews, which was pretty good. And total number of authors on both tracks is around 8,000. So that's a lot. Next slide, please. Next. Yes, on acceptance statistics. Of course, it's a tougher job to reject good papers. And we wanted to provide the best judgment, best argument, best feedback on each of the paper as we could. Especially on applied track, it's great teams from bigger and smaller companies with thorough in-depth research. And we have received a tremendous number of great papers, 705. So this is actually like a repetition of the previous slides. So some numbers I have been talked about. In this case, next slide, please. Next slide, yes. Yes, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the difference between research and ADS tracks. So basically, as soon as I mentioned that we tried to invite equal number of people from academia and from industry to review these papers, we wanted to raise again the difference between these 2 tracks. And it's very difficult to demonstrate a good deployed work, and some papers for evidential category. So we tried to make a very clear distinctions of what that means, literally compared to research tracks. And still we got some number of papers that were purely qualifying as research, which we couldn't accept at this moment. So we have our research process basically in several stages. When we do collected all the opinions or feedbacks and scores from our PC chairs and worked in tight collaboration with our SPCs. So we guided our selection process by scores, but not only the scores was the final factor. At the end, we also thoroughly read feedbacks that we have received, how thorough they were, how detailed they were. Actually, if there were any questions or discussion, there was some discussions open with authors, with SPC members. So at the end, we have accepted 155 papers, like I said. So on the papers themselves, what you can see this year, basically, this has been covering a lot of research and deployment in the area of new architectures, of how specific architectures were tailored to the systems when it comes to applied. We have not seen that much on ML operations. That is also important part of the work. So basically, we would like to see that more. And we are happy to note the fact that we have a lot of coverage in emerging areas. I think basically at this point, I just would like to thank again to the entire community who participated, to all of the session chairs, to all of the people who agreed to step in the situation when we needed more reviewers, we needed help, everybody who gave us advices from previous years. And I would like to thank the amazing organizing committee of KDD for support, for work, for nice teamwork. So thank you.
Thank you, Arina and Haixing, for your many hours of work and for sometimes always going out of the way to offer help. Okay, so I want to very briefly go over these conference new features, and I want to leave more time for discussion and interaction for this meeting, because after all, this is a town hall. Some of things I already mentioned, I won't repeat. I just want to mention one thing is this year we do have two new special theme day, which went really well. One is the Trust Day, one is the ESG Day, to address some of the growing attention in these two themes, as trust and ESG are attracting more and more research effort in our community, and it's a good topic to help to pour really multidisciplinary effort on some of the most important issues in the world right now. And yeah, so that's all. I don't want to spend more time on this slides. Next slides, please. Okay, next, I think I want to give over to our KDD chair, Prof. Wei Wang, to talk about the rest of the KDD business as well as the EC.
Thank you, Fei and the organization team. You guys did a fantastic job for this KDD. So first, I want to take this moment to thank the members of the previous ECs. And I showed them actually their name and pictures on the slides. And Jen was the chair. So under his leadership, actually KDD have been through the tough time of the pandemic. So I think the both Jen and Mike Zeller actually did the heavy lifting, and not just this year, actually from last year, actually moving the conference from in-person to virtual at San Diego. So they did a lot of work on that. And also other members also contribute tremendously through this process. And they're Deepak Agra, Johannes Gerg, Yuri Lenskovic, Bing Liu, and Claudia Perlich, and Jeff Webb, and Mohammed Zaki. So they all deserve actually a big round of applause for their service to the KDD community. Next slide, please. So starting this July 1st, we have assembled a new executive committee. As you can see that some of the previous EC member remain to be on the EC. So that's give us a significant value and the continuity of this EC's operation. I'm the chair of this terms of EC, and Professor Hui Xiong is the treasurer. And actually Dr. Johannes Dirk remain on the PC, and Jen also remain on the PC, and Jeff and Zaki both remain on the PC. We also have three new members, Sostin Jochi, Cynthia Rudin, and Zhihua Zhou. So when I call your name, I think some of you are online right now, so please turn on your mic and video and introduce yourself to the community. So I will go with the list on the screen. So Johannes.
Okay, hello, I'm Johannes.
A few words about you, yeah.
I'm at Microsoft.
And you remain on the EC, so you are the expert here. So, and Sostin?
Hi, yeah, I'm Torsten Joachims. I'm a faculty at Cornell and also a part-time Amazon scholar. Yeah, thanks for the trust, and thanks for all the chairs this year for pulling this off.
Jen?
Hi, Jan Pei from Simon Fraser University. As I'm retiring, I thank you for the opportunity to staying in the EC, and I will trying to provide more, organization committee memory and support the new EC. Thank you.
And Lucia actually is not, unfortunately, not able to come with us, but she's another new member, and she's looking forward to working the EC and working with everybody to improve the KDD community. Hui?
Hi. So currently I'm a chair professor at the Hong Kong UST, and I have been in this community for so many years. I served as PC chair and also the PC chair for the both research track and also the ADS track, previous IDG track. And it's my great pleasure to continue my service and as a secretary and the treasury and to help for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jeff?
Hi, Jeff Webb from Monash University. I had the privilege to serve on the last EC, and I'm delighted to be able to continue on to serve the community. I'd like to join in giving the tremendous thanks to all those who have made the current conference so successful. Thanks.
Thank you. Zaki?
Hi, everyone. This is Mohammed Zaki. I'm at RPI. And as Wei Wang said, that I'm continuing on with the executive committee. I really look forward to working with the new EC and to a great success in the coming years. Thanks.
Thank you. Zhihua?
Hi, I'm Zhihua Zhu from Nanjing University, China. And it's my great pleasure to join the EC and provide more service to the community. I believe we can do much better and get much better achievements with all of your help. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, all of you. I'm very excited, and I would like also thank the committee who actually elect us to serve, give us opportunity to serve in the next few years. We look forward to working with everyone to make KDD, an even stronger and a better community for everyone. Next slide, please. So I would like to hand over to Hui to talk about the financial health of KDD, especially as we're halfway through the pandemic. Hui?
Yeah, thank you. And as we can see from this slide, and SIGKDD actually is in pretty healthy financial situation. And you can see for 2020, we have actually a very high increase in terms of our account balance. And for the data from 2021 is actually we have 5.15 million. This data actually is not the final data because we still have we are waiting for the income for the sponsorship for KDD this year and also for the cost for this year KDD organization. So this will not be the final number, but actually we can see still we might project a very increase in terms of financial situation. Even we have this pandemic still in terms of account balance, we're still in a very healthy situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hui. Next slide, please. Next year's KDD is going to be in Washington, D.C., and we hope to be an in-person event. Now I'm like to hand over the stage to the general chair of next year's KDD to present a few highlights of the next year's conference. So.
Hi, Wei. And this is Dong Zhang. I'm a professor at the University of Virginia here. And I will co-chair with Hasafa. Hasafa, are you there?
Hi, everybody. I'm Uzefa. I'm a faculty member here at George Mason University. My background is Washington, D.C., where the next conference will hopefully be at.
Yeah. So, we want to thank the executive committee to trust us to host the very, significant and important conference next year, because after 2 years, we are planning in-person conference, and we already signed a contract with the hotels, several hotels, and also the Washington, D.C. Convention Center, and dates are settled August 14 to 18 next year. And so this Washington, D.C. Convention Center is huge. I think we can host at least 10,000 people, but we currently planned for 5,000 people. So hope, next year will be good as we planned to go to the convention center. This is located just next to the Metro Center. I think it's next to the Chinatown Metro station. So, so we are looking forward for this new conference next year. And as we have planned, a few highlights. The first one, since it's in the capital of the United States, so we planned a government day with all the governments around the DC, especially NSF and NIH. I already contacted a few people in NSF, and they are very excited to host this event, and they want to make it big. That's what they said. And also, as everybody knows, Amazon just created the second headquarters in DC. So we hope to leverage that and also the local industry. So we have also several other initiatives. I will let Hazafa talk about it, because he has a big, programs in his department for education. Hazafa, you want to talk about it?
Sure. So I think the exciting bit for me is that we're going to have an undergraduate research type event. Like if you get them young in data science and data mining, it'll be very exciting if they can attend KDD out there. And we're also going to have some sessions on data science education and think about that. So try to broaden beyond research and think about learning sciences and educational data mining and things like that. And I've been to that convention center because it's close to my home. It's about a mile from my home, and it can host 30,000 people on a good day. So it can really go big. so when needed. But yeah, but thank you again for the opportunity. We look forward to welcoming you at this conference next year.
So we hope to see all of you there.
Thank you, Aiton and Hazafa. And we actually are very excited, and we are looking forward to meet everybody in DC next year. So that's our hope, and I'm sure this new organization committee that Aiton and Hazafa are going to assemble is going to work very hard to make sure this next conference is a successful one, right? Especially when we return to in-person meetings. So it's a big challenge, but I think they are ready to tackle it. So now I think we have about 10 minutes left. I'd like to invite the community to submit questions and feedbacks, especially with the new EC. We would love to hear your comments, suggestions when we, going through this second half of the pandemic and trying to get our foot back on our foot with in-person meetings. And any suggestions and questions, you can use the Rocket Chat channel on the KDD website. So if you watch this video on the KDD website, And right next to the live stream of the video, you can submit the questions and the comments, and we should be able to see it. Okay, so maybe I have a question for next year's organization committee. So I think maybe many of the audience have the similar questions as we are moving back to in person. So in terms of the organization, right? So is there what's the major difference from like pre-pandemic era, like organized conference?
What's the difference between?
Yeah, the major difference from the organization committee's viewpoint.
You know, we hope to resume to the previous, you know, KDD conference as what has been organized very successfully. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So, well, so I know from the audience perspective. So, and then everybody want to go back to before, right? But from the organization team's viewpoint, there may be additional work that need to be done to make sure that we actually indeed can go back to the time before.
Well, currently we planned in person and everything as back before 2 years, right? The similar situation, but you know, as Jen and Jen was discussing when he was chair, we still have to plan. Maybe people outside of the U.S. may not be able to come, so we have to. So if you ask whether what's the difference between this year and the previous years, we do have to plan. You know, maybe majority attendee will be from the U.S. and people from other countries may not be able to come, and whether we have to offer virtual. I believe our consensus is right now is in person. We don't want to go hybrid. So.
Thank you. We do have question come in. The question actually is for I think the PC chairs. So what percentage of PC members, reviewers in the ADS track were purely from academia?
It's about 50-50.
It's about 50-50, I see. Thank you.
We really wanted to get some more perspective on industrial work and people from industry who do understand very well what it means to have a deployed paper. But of course, we do need the other side as well. And this way, basically, we ended up like that.
Thank you. There's another question, comment. Is that this year we didn't record the tutorial video, and hope the question is whether we can record them and post online next year in KDD 22.
We can, you know, think about that and plan for that, I guess, right, Hazafa?
Yes, I think that should be absolutely feasible, given that it was even done previously. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can quickly jump in a bit more to explain a bit about this year's decision, why we decided not to record all the tutorials and the workshops. A lot of reasons because of these online Zoom attacks, and you know, if we you know, offer these capacity that people can use their own you know, Zoom rooms and things, and it's really hard to control from our organization standpoint and to really offer a smooth conference experience for all. And as this year we have actually experienced some Zoom attacks in the right beginning, but fortunately we have quickly responded and it was okay afterwards. But I definitely agree that and myself, have, I think many of the tutorials are wonderful, and I hope we can have the chance to really view them again. So next year, if we're going really into offline mode, I believe we can have that. Yeah, thanks.
The next one is do we know where 2023 KDD is? So that's really a great question. Actually, I also want to take this opportunity to solicit volunteers to organize the 2023. We're thinking of West Coast of US, but we haven't finalized the location and the organization team yet. So if you're interested and want to contribute to the organization, and please send me email. Okay. The next question, will we be able to get the full content of a PDF of papers on a memory stick as when we arrive at in-person event? I guess this is another great question, because as everyone may know that we lower the registration fee significantly, right, to accommodate people all around the world. And as a result, so we need to make sure that we are not operating it at a loss. So I think it is doable, feasible during the in-person meeting. We have this USB drive, but if I think it may be more efficient for an online meeting to give people the opportunity to download the PDF instead of mailing the USB drive. So the next question, very quick one. Are there any plan that can make sure those attendees are not, so basically when we are back in person, those one who can only attend virtually, right? And would not be in a disadvantaged situation. I think this is another great question. We will think about this, and then when we plan this next year's conference. And we want to make sure that we can accommodate the need of as many people as possible all around the world. Okay, so I think we need to finish this, wrap up this session, because ADS in my talk session is about to start in a minute. So thank you, everybody. And we can take this discussion offline, and please feel free to send me email, send email to Feda and other chairs of the this year's conference, and send email to the next year's general chair. So especially if you have questions, suggestions, or you want to volunteer to help help with the KDD community. So we would love to hear from you. Thank you very much.